Hi, I'm partway through making this card today. In an earlier video I covered sticking mats and layers down straight because as a beginner I was lucky enough to see a really good demonstration of that, but I've not seen it demonstrated for beginners on the internet. It's the sort of thing people go, oh, you do some matting and layering and well, here's your card all done. So I thought I would break that down and show beginners how to do that. I like to use double-sided tape on the back. I shall stick that layer down later. This is a background piece I foiled using an all-over hot foil stamp earlier today, and so just so everybody's clear, this is a hot foil stamp. They are metal plates with a raised image on them with flat surfaces. So that's an all-over pattern. That's a hot foil stamp. That's a butterfly. This is its matching die. Now you don't actually use them together as such. You wouldn't foil and then cut out, because otherwise you just might as well cut out some foil cardstock. But if you wanted to put a matching or coordinating pattern on your background paper, or like a foiled extra dimension behind your butterfly, then you'd use one on your background, cut out a butterfly in a coordinating cardstock, and then you could lift its wings and stick it on the top. So that's how you'd use that, or of course you could use it on its own. So that's a die with its ridges, cutting ridges. Hopefully you can see those, and I would never ever put those ridges down onto the grey surface of the Go Press. I'd be really worried that they would damage it. So, but I do like to foil using the back edge of a die to create a border around a topper or a sentiment. And I like to use dies, see, this one's got the cutting ridge in the middle of that border, and that will do a really nice job, give you quite a thick edge. But I use other dies as well. This is from a tattered lace set of dies, and you can see its cutting edge again is in the middle, but it's a much thinner die. So I haven't decided yet actually which one I'm going to use for this card. The first thing I need to do is to actually foil the sentiment. So I'm going to use this hot foil plate, and I will put that onto my Go Press in a moment to warm up. I'm going to put my card to one side. Now I foiled this using this really nice soft finished rose gold. It's not a really shiny foil, but I'm going to do the sentiment in a shiny rose gold foil. There was actually a Todo brand foil that I've got, and so I'm going to do it from that. Just put this to one side, and you'll see I've got quite a large piece of card. I don't think it's worth me talking about card sizes. I've got, in European sizes, it's an A6. It is, let me measure it for you. It is 10.5 by 14.8 millimetres. 10.5 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres. And in European terms, that's A6. It's half of the A5 piece that is the size of the card. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to pull my Go Press over and put my sentiment on it to warm up. I'm just going to pull that out the base. Okay, so I'm just going to put this nicely in the middle here. I need to tilt the camera down. That's better. Now you can actually see what I'm doing. So I've got my hot platform for my Go Press. Put my hot foil stamp on there, close the lid. I'm going to put that back in the base unit and wait for that to come to temperature. I've got my piece of card. Now I don't want that piece of foil to move. I want to make sure my foil stays in the middle of my piece of card. So I've got some really good low tack decorators masking tape. It's Frog brand. It's decorators masking tape for delicate surfaces, and it hardly ever tears my card. I won't say never, but hardly ever tears my card. Need to make sure you don't have wrinkles in your foil. There, you see I've peeled that straight off, no problem. But I need to get it down flat. That's it. And then just a couple of pieces at the other edge. And I'm keeping the tape well away from where I'm actually going to be foiling. So there's my card. The Go Press is now ready, so I'm just going to bring that back over and show you how I position that. So I want to make sure I foil right in the middle of this card. So if I look here, there's lines on the grey mat, and I can see that I've got my sentiment there in the middle that way, and if I look there, it'd be in the middle that way, so I can tell that that should be in the middle there, I think. So it's, yeah, I can see I'm sort of 3 lines in from that end, 3 lines in from that end, and then in the middle there, so 3 lines in, that should be in the middle. So my foil is shiny side up, attached to my card. That goes on to my hot foil plate. Close the lid, put it back in the base unit to make sure it has to have electricity while it heats up. Now the red light is flashing. I'm going to wait for that to go green, and then I'm going to roll that through my die cutting machine. I shall be back. I nearly forgot. I need to add a double thickness card shim. So here I have a big piece of card, folded in half. I've used it a few times, it's got foil on it. So I'm just going to pop that back in. And that will just mean I get a bit extra pressure on that. Okay, let it heat up, then I'm going to roll it through the die cutting machine. And I'm back. So this has been through my die cutting machine. I haven't looked at whether or not the foiling's worked yet. And I do these videos real time. The only time I pause if I need to wait for things to warm up, or go and use the die cutting machine, which is actually in another room. So let's have a look. Open the lid, take out the shim, put that to one side, pick up my card and foil, and that's what I have. So that looks pretty good to me. Now it's really tempting at this stage to peel back the foil and have a look, but for the purposes of getting everything lined up, I really don't want to. Okay, so that's my sentiment. That's my hot foil stamp. So I'm going to put that to cool. And then, so that I can use foil with the back of a die, I'm going to set this up so that I actually have a metal shim on it. Now I did a previous video of this. I I didn't have a tripod to hold the camera. So I was literally holding my phone in one hand and doing things with the other. So I've got a piece of 300 GSM cardstock, 250 would probably do, cut so it fits inside the edges of the grey mat. Okay, so that goes on my heating surface. Then I've got a thin metal shim. This is only 0.3mm thick. It's definitely not the metal shim that comes with the GoPress Deluxe or the Couture Creations one that they bring out, because that's much thicker. I will put in the notes of the video places you can put this, get this, and you'll find notes in my other videos of where you can get this metal shim or one that's very similar, so that you can get one. So that goes on there. I'm going to close the lid and I'm going to put that in the base unit to warm up. And while that's warming up, I'm going to have a look at what die I'm going to use to put a frame around this and cut it out. So I've sorted through my die collection and I've kind of got a short list. So I could use this one, and that gives me quite a lot of space around the sentiment. It's quite big. I'm not sure how well that's going to work on the card I'm going to put it on. I think it might take up too much space. I've got this one. Now this is actually a set of Todo brand dies. They're decorative ovals, and I find this a really useful die set. It goes up to quite big. I think the largest is probably at least 18 centimetres across. It's quite a big die. I very rarely use it, but it's got all the sizes going down to a really teeny tiny one, so they're really useful. You know, most die manufacturers do something similar, and that would work quite nicely. So that would go around there. I need to make sure that actually it clears the edges of the sentiment with the inside edge of the die. So there's that. I've got that one that's from another layering die set. Quite a fancy edge. I quite like that one. It's almost got a kind of Art Deco kind of vibe to it, that one. So I might use that one. That one would work, I think. Just not sure. I've got two more here. Use a magnetic tool on them. That's easier. This is a Just Right is the brand for this one, and I've used that previously with this sentiment, and that seems to work quite well. And I've got a smaller version of the tattered lace one. Which is that one. I may well end up doing several versions of this sentiment to figure out which one's going to look best on my card. I think I'm going to try that one first. Okay, so having decided what I'm going to do, then I need to tape the die down so that it doesn't move. So I've already got my foil taped down, but now I need to tape the die down. And because I haven't moved my foil, I can see where the foiling is to position my die. So if I had a stamped image that I was cutting out, I would do this. I'm starting to think of foiling as stamping with foil, because many of the same techniques seem to apply. I need to make sure I've got the right bits parallel and straight. quite often I stick these down and then I pick them up and I look at them and I think, no, it's in completely the wrong place. Now I have to take the tape off again and reposition it. And this tape, as I say, does peel off really easily. Okay, I'm going to pause the video for a second because my husband has just got home and he's about to walk in because he doesn't know I'm filming. So bear with me. Right, so I just paused for a second because my husband came in. So that is now stuck down. That goes on the go press on top of my metal shim. So here it is with the metal shim. That goes on there. Okay, so the foil is facing up, the die is facing up. Okay. So then I'm going to need to put some pressure on this so that that actually is the back of the die that makes the impression through the foil onto the card. So I'm heating the, rather than heating the die, I'm heating the card and the foil. So I need to put something on top of there for that die to come up against. So I keep a few kind of sacrificial pieces of card, foiling that went wrong, that kind of thing, for my dies to bite into. So I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to put one more shim on top. And then I'm going to close my lid, put that back on my base to warm up. My light's flashing red currently. Let me bring this across. Okay, so my light is flashing red. Just here. Okay, and I'm going to wait for that to go green. And then I'm going to take my hot plate out and take it to the die cutting machine. Okay, that's gone green. When I slide this out, that will flash green. That's quite normal, but it does warn you that the hot plate isn't connected to the base unit. So, to the die cutting machine, and I should be back. Okay, back from the die cutting machine. So this is flashing green, and I'm going to push my hot plate in, and it goes to flashing red. That's completely normal. So I'm going to pull this out, and as I say, I'm filming this real time, so I don't know if my foiling has worked or not. You can see there where the die has cut into the card, and even more on that piece. So if those pieces of card weren't there, that would have cut into the lid. My lid is getting quite scratched, but it's not a problem. It is designed to be a cutting plate, but I don't want it getting too damaged because that could affect my results when I'm foiling. Couture Creations make a replacement lid, but it's not available in the UK yet. So there's my card. Let me move my base unit out of the way. And then I need to lift my die up and see whether or not it's made enough pressure on the foil. So peel the tape carefully. Now the die cuts through the tape, so it's quite easy to lift. And if I just corner here, you can see underneath whether or not the foil has adhered. Now that's looking quite good to me. So let me check this corner. Yep, I think that's done quite well. I'm going to lift the other, take the tape off the other corners. can see which foils. If I needed to, if I looked and I thought, ooh, that doesn't look like the foils it is, at this stage I can get that still in place, so I can tape it back down and I can heat it some more and I can roll it again if I need to. Take the last piece off. As I'm not sure this is going to be perfect. It isn't the easiest cardstock for foiling onto. I'm just going to smooth that down. And I am going to just have a peep. It's, yeah, it's not perfect, but I think that'll look fine. And if I don't like it when I've cut it out, I'll make another one, because I can. I'm going to peel this back. Yeah, that tape sticks quite firmly, but it doesn't damage the surface of the card when you take it off. So you might think, well, okay, you've got a big blobby line around your sentiment, but actually what I'm going to do now is cut that out using the same die. So the die goes on top. Down some of these bits of tape that I've already used. And actually looking at this, the foiling of the sentiment's not perfect either, so I probably will redo it and see if I can get some better results. Okay, so I'm going to go and die cut that and then come back. Okay, so that's been through the die cutting machine. Snip it out. Now I have forward edge on my sentiment. Let me just grab the card again. Turn it around so you can see it the right way up. So that's going to be my card. That will go across the middle there, maybe part way down, and then that's going to go in the middle there. But I probably will redo it. I think I probably need to let things warm through for a little bit longer and maybe have an extra shim with a bit more pressure, and then that should come out actually so that it actually comes out right. Okay, but that's the technique. What results you get with what foil and what cardstock, there are endless combinations. So it's one of those things you need to take your card and the foil you have and experiment. Sometimes you need to let the foil heat for longer. Sometimes you need to add an extra shim. I have some foil that doesn't like to be heated for too long. It likes to be heated well, but not for too long. So I have to actually pretty much time it. So it likes 1.5 minutes to heat through. So I have to sit and watch the clock, time it for 1.5 minutes. I can't go away and have a cup of tea and come back, because then it will have heated for too long and then it doesn't work. The couture foils and the Todo foils are much less fussy. They'll foil onto most cardstock and give good results. But as I say, you do need to experiment. So that's today's video, and hopefully you'll find those techniques useful.